Hi everyone. I know we weren't able to have POB class today, but I am still intended to get a workout this week. And last week we began speaking about economic problems in the Caribbean, and we spoke briefly about the Caribbean being a developing country, small state, and so forth. Today we want to look at one of the major economic problems facing the Caribbean at the moment, which is unemployment. So, what is unemployment? Unemployment, according to the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, is persons above a specified age, usually 15, not being paid employment or self employment, but currently available for work during the reference period. So, unemployment is basically those people who may be able to work and can get work, and then the people who just cannot work. Okay, and then there are different types of unemployment we will explore. And when you understand the different types of employment, you will have a different eye on employment because you see on a daily basis what is going on in society, what is going on with with our economy, what is happening with people itself, people with disabilities, and you'll understand a little bit more as to why the unemployment rate in the Caribbean is so huge. Now, there are different types of unemployment, and we will explore each one in detail. The first type we'll look at is seasonal unemployment. Second, we'll look at is casual unemployment. Third, we have cyclical unemployment. Fourth, technological unemployment. Fifth, structural unemployment. Sixth, frictional unemployment. And seven, residual unemployment. So seasonal unemployment now is the first one we'll be looking at. And this was one that has been in the Caribbean since the days of the sugarcane estates, right? Basically, seasonal unemployment, people are employed only for the season for certain type of economic activities that come around. For example, reaping of a crop, for example, sugarcane, coffee, etc. Now, most crops like sugarcane and coffee, activity or work is there to plant right after the reaping stage. But for a long period of time, they just let it rest and then go back after a couple months, maybe 6 to 10 months to harvest and so forth. During this period of harvesting or reaping of the crops is when farmers make their money, is when work is available for people who are dependent on it, and so forth. Hence, we say it is seasonal. Some crops can only some crops take 6 to 10 months, some crops take 3 months, depending on the type of crop, is when an income will be earned. And this is what is known as seasonal, right? Once crops are planted, there's a lag period that comes before work again. Now, there's also the maintenance of these crops, but majority of people, for example, apple pickers in the United States and Canada, this is not a year-round job. This is a seasonal job. They're only needed for like 6 months of the year, and then the other 6 months they're unemployed. So this is the first form of unemployment known as seasonal unemployment. The second type of unemployment is casual unemployment. And casual unemployment takes into account those persons who work on and off basis. In other words, they work different odd jobs when it is available, otherwise, they are unemployed. So these are people who may be painters, maybe people who do yard work, etc., around your house, people who work seasonally in terms of that time of the year, for example, Christmas time, New Year's. So these are the people who will make an income around a certain time only. For example, not every time someone will need their house painted. So a person who goes around painting someone's house for an income may have work sometimes. He may have work Monday but not Tuesday. He might have work for a month, especially in this pandemic period where times are hard. People tend to do stuff on their own, so he might even be required to do the job. But other examples of casual unemployment has to do with gift wrappers around Christmas time and selling fireworks around New Year's. So you yourself will see around New Year's, you'll see a fire one tent at almost every major corner in Trinidad. This is because fireworks is sold dominantly year end from Diwali goes straight on to New Year's, and people normally buy fireworks around this time. Throughout the rest of the year, people don't really purchase fireworks, it's not really necessary. We don't have a reason to light fireworks, but around this time you see a lot of pop-up tents, and this provide a form of casual employment for people. So during the downtime, um, when there's no need for fireworks, there's no need for gift wrapping services like around Christmas time, then we can say these people are casually unemployed. The next type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment. And cyclical unemployment has to do with the downturn in aggregate demand. So if the demand for something drop and it is persistent, then it will lead to unemployment. In other words, when there's a downturn in the economy or depression hits, people are laid off. Anytime there's a financial crisis going on, the first thing to suffer is people who work in jobs that are considered not relevant anymore, or a job that can be done by somebody else or in someone else's job portfolio. This is what we call cyclical unemployment, and it has a lot to do with the state of the economy. And when there is little demand for products, for example, if people don't have money to buy something, demand will drop, the aggregate demand will drop, and so forth, and people will not be producing. So factories will have no choice but to send home employees along that period of time and rehire them probably when things get back up and running. So this is cyclical unemployment, and I hope you are pausing the video constantly to make a note. Just like how we would have done it in class, you would have made your notes. I want you to make your notes in this video as well. Let's continue. The next type of unemployment we have in the Caribbean, and very widely associated with the Caribbean, is technological unemployment. With the advent and use of modern technology, workers and humans can be easily replaced. If the machine can do the job costing the organization less money, they will easily replace a human. Or if the person is not trained or educated about technology, this is another way they would replace a worker, then somebody can get laid off. Technological unemployment is prevalent now with the rise of globalization and internationalization. Remember, I said that globalization is the opening up of the world's borders and the removal of borders, then, sorry, so that we have access to new technology, and technology is making ground standing movements throughout the globe. So, for example, a small manufacturing company in Trinidad, for example, Associated Brands, they are in the process of buying new machineries for their products, and machinery that need little human intervention. If anything, just somebody to operate the machine. So they are looking in the next 10 years to have machines that will be operated by one human, and everybody else can, take a back seat, meaning they're going to send home employees. This is the future of manufacturing companies because of productivity and the kind of production that can take place with a machinery. There's really no need to pay workers to do what a machine can do. And this is the disadvantage that technology brings to society, especially small Caribbean society where we have a lot of people working in the manufacturing of food and beverages industry. The next type of unemployment we will look at here is structural unemployment. This type sets in when the behavior of the market reveals that the demand for a particular product has decreased. In other words, if consumers are no longer demanding locally produced shoes, then workers in the local shoe manufacturing industry will be laid off as firms try to recoup. Right? The firm can close its doors forever if a way is not found to produce the type of shoes that consumers demand. So structural unemployment has to do with shifts in the market and the consumers' demand and taste, right? People will buy what is in style. So if something is out of style, and then there's no need to produce this particular product unless the organization up its game and try to produce in a trending basis, then you can say unemployment will be high. Okay, so this is happening now a lot with the whole COVID-19 pandemic. You see a lot of businesses have to close their doors because they're unable to adjust to the situation of lockdowns and new protocols. However, there are some businesses who tend to be very innovative enough to continue their sales via online methods such as Facebook, their websites, text, advertisement, and so forth. And sales are done remotely. The business will go door to door rather than open a door for people to come in. This is called being innovative. We find people who are unable to produce food in this time, doing quick and easy packaging type of food just to pick up at a convenience store rather than going in the physical restaurant to buy the same food. Right? All these are structural employment. The structural employment comes about when an organization is unable to be that innovative to keep up with the trends in demand. A type of unemployment that is also prevalent in Caribbean society is frictional unemployment. And this comes about when a person leaves or loses a job before another is found. For example, if you get fired from a job or you're being so pressured in a job that you just decide to quit before you actually have another job, this lapse in time before finding another job is known to be frictional unemployment, because at this time a person is unstable until he or she finds another form of employment. Frictional employment comes about due to forced and unpleasant natures in the business environment. You find a lot of people quitting their jobs because of management. Management is too unreasonable. Management is harsh. Management lacks humanity. You find people leaving their job because the stress of the job is actually way more than the money that they make in the job, and they decide they will be better off without that little money and lose all that stress. So frictional unemployment is prevalent in any society, and we see it day to day due to management styles and so forth, especially in the public service in Trinidad and Tobago. Then we have residual unemployment. The number of people in an economy remains unemployed even when there's full employment, right? And this is only so because these people have physical or mental disabilities and as such that they are virtually unemployable. They are therefore do not usually feature unemployment statistics, right? So for example, people who have who born with Down syndrome, people with cerebral palsy, people who's in wheelchair, like the picture shows there, people who is autistic, who are not considered worthy to work, but they are capable, those are the people who are residual. Because there is a place for them, there is a place that could be hired, but because of their physical and mental disability, they are deemed unemployable. So those people will depend on welfare and disability grants and so forth. But in actual form, there are a lot of this people with mental and physical disabilities who are very well capable of working. They just are classified under a certain quota in society and they are considered residual unemployed persons. Another situation, if a child with, not a child, if a person, an adult with autistic goes to apply for a job, chances are he or she will be discriminated against, meaning they will be, the management might see them as not being physically capable to work, even though they are able to work. Sometimes it's easier to say people with autism is not a disability, it's just a different ability, and we need to see eye to that. Rather, they are the ones considered residual unemployed, right? So people who have suffered injuries, paralyzation, and so forth, they all fall under that category of residual unemployment. Now, we went through the different types of unemployment, and very briefly, we're going to look at the causes of unemployment. We have The causes of unemployment are due to demand deficient and supply side. In terms of the demand side of a cause for unemployment, we have high interest rates, we have global recession, we have negative multiply effect, meaning we have um, more people available than there are for jobs, and a financial crisis which can be done or due to a pandemic, for like the COVID-19 pandemic, a shift in the economy, bad investment, stakeholders gone wrong. All these things can cause unemployment, and we are seeing this widely in Trinidad and Tobago today. A lot of jobs are being suffered, a lot of people are home because of lockdown, and this is all due to a crisis that we have currently going on in society and the global recession that is facing the international market. On the supply side, we have frictional unemployment because people, I don't want to work in this job anymore. I'm tired. You are stressing me out as a manager. You are stressing me out. I'm leaving. I'm not getting paid to take um discriminated against or stressed. Then we have structural, which is mismatch of skills. So a person may have a degree in chemical engineering and will be working a regular technician job, right? This is a major cause of unemployment because they are highly qualified for a job that they are getting underpaid for. Then we have geographical immobility. So the place, the Caribbean is known as a small state area. Each island in the Caribbean is small. So we don't have enough place to move about, right? But under the CARICOM regime, we can move to another Caribbean island and work with a CARICOM passport. But to say we are moving around in one country, it's physically impossible, right? Because we are so small. Usually, if you apply for a job, they can call you at any area, whether it be north, south, east, or west, and you will go to it. It's not like America, which is large scale. You have different states. You can move to another state because there's a better opportunity for you. In places like Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, small islands, this is impossible. Usually, if it's not available, it's not available throughout the country. And then there's a real wage unemployment and technological change. Technology has set a path where there's a lot of workers being unemployed, especially in the manufacturing division. Right, so these are the major causes of unemployment. I also have a handout that I will upload to you with the consequences of unemployment. I want you to read the handout. You're not required to print it, just read it and take down the main points for or the main consequences of unemployment. So pull out the main points and list them as consequences of unemployment. Alongside that, you have to pause this video and make your notes as you go because this will be part of your class and this is expected to be done before our class next Wednesday, right? So I hope you take the time, watch the video, make the notes. Now this video probably very short because at the end of the day, we don't have to wait for people to write. I don't have to pause and continue and make sure everybody's on the same page and so forth. You are working on your own pace now. You pause the video and make your notes. For everything, pause the video, make your notes, read the handout, and jot your main points for the consequences of unemployment. And that will take us through this problem, this economic problem facing the Caribbean. The next we have to move on to has to do with population and migration problems, urbanization, nationalization, and inadequate sources of capital. So I'll see you guys next week for principles of business. And in the meantime, ensure to make your notes and read over what was done in class.